Okay, I've performed hand hygiene and I've washed my hands. I've come into the patient's room and can you tell me your name?
Joshua. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make sure that matches up with my paperwork or the wristband. And now I'm going to be inspecting his scalp. I'm inspecting his scalp for symmetry, tenderness, any conditions, any lesions. I'm going to be inspecting his face for rest and motion, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, checking the scalp for any lesions, masses that I feel, making sure the contour is correct, going for any abnormalities. Okay, that checks out good. And now we looked at his face, checking for symmetry. Can you close your eyes really tightly? Okay, you can open them. I'm looking at his eyelashes and checking for distribution of the eyelashes. I am going to check the position and alignment of the eyes and make sure that it aligns well. I'm going to go ahead and inspect his eyes right now. I was making sure that the pupils constrict on one side, and now I'm going to look at the other and make sure it constricts on the other. I'm going to do the same to the opposite eye. Okay, and they both constrict. And I'm just going to look up on his eye. I'm checking for any injection of his sclera. I'm looking at his conjunctiva for any injection there. Same for the opposite eye. And the lid. I'm looking for the lashes, looking for any crustaceans. And I was looking at the lacrimal apparatus, and I'm looking for any sagging tissue. And now I'm going to go ahead and check for the cranial nerve 7, and I'm going to ask him to raise his eyebrows really high. That checks out. And I'm going to have you smile, frown. Can you puff out your cheeks like this? And I'm going to have you bite down for me, clench your teeth, and open your mouth. Okay, and close. Now I was checking his TMJ. That also checked out the cranial nerve 5. And now we're going to go and move on to the neck. And I'm looking at his neck for symmetry, any deviation of the trachea, fullness or masses, lesions, goiter, and jugular distension. And I'm also going to check while I'm here, since I'm at his neck, I'm going to check cranial nerve 6 and make sure that he can do the shoulder shrug. Or not 6, this would be cranial nerve 11. Yeah. Or not, yeah. Okay, can you shrug your shoulders? Great. Now I'm inspecting his neck. I'm checking the trachea, making sure there's no deviations in his trachea, and there's not. And now I'm going to look at the external ear, and I'm just going to be looking for where it is at on the head, making sure that it's symmetrical. And I'm also going to be looking at the shape and the color of the helix, and I'm going to be feeling to make sure there's no resistance, make sure the tug test that's in alignment. The nose I'm also inspecting, and I'm looking to make sure the shape and the size, and see if there's any deviations, and I do see a slight deviation. I'm also going to test another cranial nerve, and I'm going to have the patient close his eyes for me. And I'm going to ask him if he can identify a smell. What does that smell like to you?
I don't. Icy hot.
It was Vicks vapor rub, so close enough.
Ugh.
So I checked for cranial nerve 1, the smell. And now I'm going to inspect the mouth, and I'm going to look at the lips, the color. I'm going to inspect the soft palate, and I'm going to check some cranial nerves as well while I'm here. So I'm going to have you open your mouth. I'm going to use this instead. Go ahead. So I'm looking for tonsils, I'm looking at the fillers, I'm looking at his teeth, I'm looking at his gums, I'm looking under his tongue, looking for any masses, looking for any cavities, and I would also palpate it if I had gloves, and also stick out your tongue again. I'm checking the gag reflex, checking the another cranial nerve, checking cranial nerve 10. And I was also inspecting the hard palate and the soft palate. I was looking at the lips for color. And I was looking at the oral cavity, looking at the mucosa. And now I'm going to move on to palpating the face. I'm going to be checking for the sinuses for any masses, any tenderness. Okay. Do you have any tenderness? And I'm also checking for swelling. Also, while I'm here, he's already he's clenched his teeth and stuff. I'm also going to inspect his trigeminal nerves, and I'm going to have him close his eyes for me, and you point to wherever you feel something. You point to where it is. Okay? Close your eyes. Okay. Just touch where I. And that also checks out cranial nerve 5. And we've already palpated the neck for positioning. And we did the tug test for the ears. And now you can open your eyes now. Now I'm going to inspect the temporal arteries, make sure I can feel them. And then I'm going to auscultate and check for bruits. There's no bruise. I'm also going to go ahead and palpate the nodes. The lymph nodes. So we're going to start with the pre-articular, which is before the ear. And then the post-articular, which is behind the ear. I'm feeling for any tenderness and enlargement of the lymph nodes. And now I'm inspecting for the tonsillar lymph nodes. I feel a little bit, I feel the nodes a little bit. They might be on one side, might be enlarged a little bit. Are you having a sore throat? No? And I'm going to be filling the submandibular and the submental, which is just below the chin. And then I'm going to feel for the anterior cervical and then the posterior cervical, and the deep clavicular. I'm going to have you turn that way. And then I'm going to check for the subclavicular, which is above the clavicle, just clavicle. And I'm feeling for any lymph nodes that are enlarged. And then I'm going to feel the infraclavicular, which is below the clavicle. And now we are going to check out some more cranial nerves. We're going to do the 6 fields of gaze. We're going to be checking out cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6. Okay, so just follow the top of this with your eyes without moving your head. Lateral. And that checks out great. And we're also going to do the visual acuity test. And we're going to have this 6 feet out, and we're going to have him cover your right eye. Can you read this bottom line here?
LTSPH.
And the other eye.
LTSPH.
And let's do both eyes at the very bottom.
LTSPH.
Great job. Okay, we did here for we did the pupillary light reflex. Let's see here. Also need to do the concentration. I need you to cover this eye, and you tell me whenever you can see my hand come into view, my finger.
Yeah.
Look straight here. Cover, yes, cover that. And look straight here, and let me know whenever you can see the other finger.
See.
Okay, great job. Now we're going to be looking in the eyes. We're going to be looking for the red reflex. We're looking for a pink sharp disc. Make sure it's defined. And just look in the center of the eye. Okay, I'm going to look in the other eye. Good, and see it. I did see the red reflex. I wasn't able to inspect so much the fova. And now we are going to be inspecting the nose, the nares, and we're looking for turbinates. We're looking for the patency of the nares. We're looking for any masses, protrusion. Looking for any obstructions. We're looking at the color, and we're going to be looking at the mucosa and the septum, and any masses, discharge, or bleeding. You can look up for me. Okay, other one. Okay. And then I'm going to change this out and look in his ears. So here I'm going to be checking out the tympanic membrane. I'm going to be looking, making sure the cone of the light is 5 or 7. I'm going to look at the transparency, looking for any fluid, looking for any bulging or sunken landmarks, or any scarring of the ears. I'm going to pull up and back. And I saw the pearly white. I do notice a little bit of redness. Now I'm going to have you cover your ear, and I'm going to whisper something and you let me know what I say.
Apple.
Okay. Do the same thing for the other side.
Baseball.
Great. And now for the final test, I'm going to do the Weber and Rhine test. So this is going to be the Weber test where I put it on the bridge of his forehead. Which ear do you hear that best out of?
Close.
And now I'm going to be doing the air conduction and bone conduction test, the Rhine test in both ears. You let me know when you can no longer hear the vibration.
Can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
We're going to do the same thing on the other side.
Can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So that checked out cranial nerve 8, and that will conclude this exam.